Sokollu Mehmed Pasha, Ottoman Turkish, Serbo-Croatian, Mehmed-paša Sokolović, Serbian Cyrillic, born as Bajica or Bajo Nenadić, 1506, the 11th of October 1579, was an Ottoman statesman hailing from Bosnia. Born into a Christian family, Mehmed was taken away at an early age as part of the devşirme system of Ottoman collection of young boys to be raised to serve as a janissary. He rose through the ranks of the Ottoman imperial system, eventually holding positions as commander of the Imperial Guard, 1543 to 1546, High Admiral of the Fleet, 1546 to 1551, Governor General of Rumelia, 1551 to 1555, Third Vizier, 1555 to 1561, Second Vizier, 1561 to 1565, and as Grand Vizier, 1565 to 1579, for a total of 14 years, 3 months, 17 days, under 3 sultans, Suleiman the Magnificent, Selim II, and Murad III. He was assassinated in 1579, ending a near 15-year rule as de facto ruler of the Ottoman Empire. Mehmed was born into a family adherent to the Serbian Orthodox Church in or near Sokolović, Sokol during the Ottoman era, in the vicinity of modern-day Rudo. Said to have come from a modest shepherd family, Sokollu Mehmed Pasha's name derives from his place of birth. Lu indicates in Turkish from a place, in this case Sokollu or from Sokol. His birth name was probably Bajica, while his father was named Dimitri. He had 2 brothers and a sister, who married the older brother of Hüseyin Pasha Boljanic, as well as at least 1 uncle. However, details about his family and relations are disputed on 2 major counts. One is his relationship to Mehmed-paša Sokolović, traditionally identified as his brother. Today some historians consider him to have been either a nephew or distant relative. The second is the matter of Mehmed's uncle. By some accounts, his uncle was a monk at the Milesiva monastery who had his 2 nephews, Bajica and Mehmed, taken to be brothers according to this view, educated there. Other sources suggest that his uncle converted to Islam early. In 1516, an Ottoman expedition gathering up boys as part of the devşirme system reached Sokol. According to folklore, Bajica was either simply taken from his father's home or, due to a reputation as a gifted child, specifically chosen by the commanding Yezils Mehmed Bey. The story further holds that his uncle unsuccessfully appealed to the authorities, even offering gold for the child's return. Janissary education. He accepted the name of Mehmed and, first in Edirne and then in Constantinople, received a thorough Ottoman education as a recruit, first as an apprentice janissary, in Turkish Asemi-Iglan, then in the Under Palace School in Topkapı Palace. As proclaimed in Baghdad on the 13th of March 1535, Mehmed was sent to be one of the 7 retainers of the imperial treasurer Iskender Çelebi. Upon Iskender's death, Mehmed returned to Constantinople. In addition to Turkish, he spoke Serbo-Croatian, Bosnian, Croatian and Serbian, Persian, Arabic, Venetian Italian and Neo-Latin. Early career. Mehmed in 1541 first became an imperial chamberlain and then the head of the Sultan's squires. In these positions he became very close to Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent and learned from him. As a soldier, Mehmed excelled at the Battle of Mohacs and the First Siege of Vienna. In 1546 the Capudan Pasha Hayreddin Barbarossa died and Mehmed was appointed his successor. In this capacity he was present at the naval expedition against Trablus, present-day Tripoli in Libya. During his 5 years in this position, Mehmed-paša greatly strengthened the arsenal of the naval fleet. Mehmed became Balabi, Governor-General, of Rumelia in 1551. Headquartered in Sofia. While he was visiting the area of his birth, his mother recognized him by the birthmark on his face and embraced her child for the first time in more than 30 years. After the death of John Zipolia, King of Hungary as an Ottoman vassal, in 1540, Ferdinand I, Holy Roman Emperor, looked to annex Zipolia's lands, the Eastern Hungarian Kingdom. The Hungarian Diet had elected infant John Sigismund Zipolia, the son of Zipolia and Isabella Jagiellon, as King of Hungary, which broke the Treaty of Nagyvarad. and Ferdinand I invaded Hungary. Isabella struggled to rule Hungary as Queen Dowager for her son. Frater George Martinuzzi, appointed by John as regent, opposed her. He would later be created a cardinal as reward for his accomplishments in this conflict. Ferdinand I sent mercenary leader, Condottiero, Bartolomeo Castoldo with more than 7,000 mercenaries who beat a contingent led by Peter Petrović, killing more than 2,500 of them. Near Xanad, the Sultan immediately ordered Sokollu Mehmed Pasha to move into Hungary, so he assembled an army of 90,000 soldiers and 54 cannons and also summoned the Pashas of Smederevo, Vidin and Nicopolis. When his forces reached Slankamen in Simea, George Martinuzzi begged Mehmed not to attack Transylvania, arguing that it had remained in the possession of the Sultan. Mehmed rejected negotiation proposals, led Ottoman forces into Transylvania and soon captured 16 cities, including Bicege, Bexkrug, Senad and Lipa. Martinuzzi responded by raising a rebellion in Transylvania, mustering one soldier from every household. Mehmed had to fall back and once again laid siege to Temsvar on 14 October with the main part of his army and 50 cannons. Mehmed demanded surrender, but the city's commander, Istvan Lugsi, replied with a recommendation for Mehmed's return to Rumelia. Mehmed besieged the city until 28 October but could not seize it. Retreating to Belgrade, he initiated peace negotiations with the Monk viceroy. Martinuzzi was assassinated on the 17th of December 1551, and peace talks ended. Sokollu Mehmed renewed his military campaign in 1552, seizing Temsvar, Holoko, Budjak, Ritsag, Balasagi Ahmet, the whole of Banat and Szolnok. Sokollu Mehmed's forces then joined with those of Ahmet Pasha advancing towards Eger. Mehmed's army assembled on the hill of Ejid but could not take the city itself. In 1553, Sultan Suleiman declared war on Safavid Persia, when the Persian Shah Tahmasp wanted to take advantage of the Sultan's preoccupation with Hungary and started making armed incursions into Ottoman territory. Sokollu Mehmed was dispatched to spend the winter of 1553–1554 in Tokat to take charge of the war against Persia. In June 1554, Sokollu Mehmed with the Rumeli, European, levies joined the army of the Sultan in the field near Cizre. He and the Rumeli contingent showed great successes in this campaign, called the Nakhichevan campaign by Turkish historians. Vizier. Impressed by Sokollu Mehmed's skills, the Sultan made him the third vizier in 1555 and he was given a place in the Imperial Council, Divan. His position as Governor-General of Rumelia was given to a Herzegovinian janissary, Pertev Pasha, an old companion of Mehmed's from when they had both served under Iskender Celebi. Almost immediately Sokollu Mehmed had to quell a rebellion around Salonika, led by Mustafa Bey, who pretended to be the Sultan's late son Mustafa. Sokollu Mehmed took 4,000 horsemen and 3,000 janissaries and quelled the rebellion. Mustafa Bey was hanged. Mehmed's brother, Topuzli Makarai, became a monk of the Serb-Chilandar monastery on Mount Athos. Mehmed-paša Sokolović paid a visit to his brother's palace in Constantinople in 1557, where the two brothers discussed the possibility of re-establishing the autocephaly of the Serbian Orthodox Church. Later that same year, Sokollu Mehmed issued an edict, Firman, declaring the restoration of the Bek Patriarchate, with Mehmed-paša Sokolović as Patriarch. The edict also guaranteed the rights and religious freedom of all inhabitants of the Ottoman Empire. When the former's Grand Vizier Ahmet Pasha was deposed and hanged, he was replaced by Rustam Pasha, who had numerous enemies. One of them was Lala Mustafa, who instigated the Sultan's third son, Bayezid, then Balibi of Karaman, to raise a rebellion against his brother and heir apparent Selim. Sokollu Mehmed mustered an army and went to Konya, where he decisively defeated Bayezid's forces in May 1559. Bayezid fled to Persia. Sokollu Mehmed remained in Asia and spent the winter negotiating with the Persian Shah regarding Bayezid's extradition. After long negotiations, the Shah handed over Bayezid and his 4 sons, who were subsequently executed. Second Vizier. Grand Vizier Rustam Pasha died in 1561 and was succeeded by the second Vizier, Semaz Ali Pasha. Sokollu Mehmed Pasha in turn became second Vizier, while Mehmed-paša became third vizier. On the 17th of August 1562, Sokollu Mehmed married Sultan Suleiman's granddaughter, Prince Selim's daughter, Ismahan Sultan. Some sources read her name as Ismahan Sultan. Mehmed spent the following years in peace, governing and administrating the realm. In 1564, Mehmed's nephew, Sokollu Mustafa Bey, became viceroy of the Elia of Bosnia. Grand Vizier. In June 1565, Grand Vizier Semiz Ali Pasha died. Sultan Suleiman had much confidence in Sokollu Mehmed Pasha and promoted him to this position. War with the Habsburgs. In late 1565 and early 1566, tensions between the Holy Roman Emperor Maximilian II and Sultan Suleiman grew. Maximilian wanted the cities previously taken by the Bosniak commander Hasan Predojević restored to him. When negotiations failed, Maximilian declared war and Grand Vizier Sokollu Mehmed Pasha ordered his nephew, Sokollu Mustafa Bey of Bosnia, to advance against Maximilian. Mustafa managed to capture the cities of Krupa and Vornuni. The Sultan immediately declared war against the Holy Roman Empire, and Sokollu Mehmed began the preparations for the army's advance. The Grand Vizier went ahead, preparing for the arrival of the Sultan, who was leading the main part of the Ottoman forces. After 50 days, they arrived in Belgrade, passing through Zemun. One part of the army crossed Varazdin and struck Hagar before proceeding towards Vienna. The Croatian nobleman and general in service of Habsburg monarchy Nikola Zrinski, Miklos Zrinji, a member of the Zrinski noble family, had defeated the Sanjakbita Muhammad, executing him and his son, and capturing 17,000 ducats. This incurred the Sultan's wrath, and he dispatched Sokollu Mehmed's forces to besiege Zagtva, while Suleiman remained in Harsang. The commander of Budin, Arslan Pasha, lost the cities of Varpalota, Vesesprim and Tartar. The Sultan sent a platoon of 15 troopers to bring him Arslan Pasha's head, but Arslan had already left his forces 3 days earlier and was on his way to the Sultan. The Sultan showed Sokollu Mehmed a letter in which Arslan had insulted him, and on 3 August, when Arslan reported to Mehmed's tent with 15 heavily armed horsemen, Sokollu Mehmed criticized Arslan for his conduct, accused him of treason and stripped him of his post, giving it instead to his nephew Sokollu Mustafa Bey. The Sultan arrived with Sokollu Mehmed's sons, Kurt Bey and Husan Bey, at Bex. Finally, the large Ottoman force, which numbered between 100,000 and 300,000 soldiers and 300 cannons, laid siege to Zagtva. The Battle of Zagtva was an Ottoman victory, with heavy losses on both sides. Both commanders died during the battle, while Zrinski was killed in the final charge. Suleiman the Magnificent died in his tent from natural causes, before the Turks achieved victory. According to Robert William Fraser, more than 10,000 large cannonballs were shot into the fortress during the siege. Sokollu Mehmed Pasha had all witnesses to the Sultan's death executed, and announced that Suleiman was too sick to perform his duties and that he would be healing in Zagtva, while he would be acting on the Sultan's behalf. Sokollu Mehmed rewarded those involved in the capture of Zagtva and increased the soldiers' wages. He sent a part of the army to capture Bajica. The Tartars, however, spread the news of the Sultan's death, and Sokollu Mustafa Bey wrote to Prince Selim about his father's death. Selim marched immediately towards Srem. Upon his arrival in Vukovar, Sokollu Mehmed wrote him that it would be best if he went to Belgrade to greet his army for a more formal and effective takeover of the empire. Selim returned to Belgrade, and Mehmed ordered the army to march towards the town. 40 days after the Sultan's death, in October 1566, the army set out for Belgrade. At the 4th stop on the way to Belgrade, 48 days after Suleiman's death, Sokollu Mehmed announced the Sultan's death ceremonially, during the traditional reading of the Quran. Sokollu Mehmed had Suleiman's body embalmed and ordered the army to proceed to meet the new Sultan in Belgrade. After 3 marches, the army arrived in Sremska Mitrovica. Mehmed reminded Selim to send gifts to the viziers, pashas and the army, but Selim's advisors convinced the new Sultan not to do so. Sokollu Mehmed went to Belgrade and swore allegiance to Selim II as his Sultan, and Selim confirmed him as his Grand Vizier. Expecting a mutiny among the military in the capital, Sokollu Mehmed had Suleiman's body sent to Constantinople to restore order amongst the janissaries and other officials, who now demanded more compensation for their past efforts. In Belgrade, Sultan Selim II called a council, as even some of his closest officials were openly mocking him. Sokollu Mehmed assured him that he would manage everything effectively, and distributed gifts to the troops, rewarding them handsomely to regain their loyalty. On the 5th day of their stay in Belgrade, the Sultan, Sokollu Mehmed and the army departed for Constantinople. Before they managed to return to the empire's capital, a mutiny broke out and the road to the city was blocked, and Sokollu Mehmed and Mehmed-paša had to bribe their way into the city. Order was restored after Sokollu Mehmed convinced the Sultan to promise to send handsome gifts and higher wages to the janissaries. The next morning, each janissary was given standard pay of 40 ducats and an additional 20 ducats as an accession bonus. Soon, the other branches of the military, the Spahis and mercenaries, demanded higher wages as well. Mehmed arrested and replaced their riggers at once, finally stopping all dissent. 2 years after Selim's accession, on the 17th of February 1568, Sokollu Mehmed succeeded in concluding at Edirne a peace treaty with Emperor Maximilian II, whereby the emperor agreed to pay an annual honorary present of 30,000 ducats. Wars with Russia, Venice and the Holy League. Mehmed-paša had little success against Russia, and the first encounter between the Ottoman Empire and her future northern rival presaged the disaster to come. A plan had been devised at Constantinople for connecting the Volga and Don by a canal, and in the summer of 1569 a large force of janissaries and cavalry was sent to lay siege to Astrakhan and begin the canal works, while an Ottoman fleet besieged Azov. However, a sortie of the garrison of Astrakhan drove back the besiegers. A Russian army of 15,000 men attacked and scattered the workmen and the Tatar force sent for their protection, and the Ottoman fleet was destroyed by a storm. Citation needed. Early in 1570 the ambassadors of Ivan the Terrible concluded at Constantinople a treaty which restored friendly relations between the Sultan and the Tsar. Selim II was a very weak ruler, and as Grand Vizier, Sokollu Mehmed held the real power in the administration, thanks to the reforms of Selim's predecessor, Suleiman the Magnificent. Although the government was weakening, Sokollu Mehmed Pasha managed to expand the borders of the Ottoman Empire greatly. In 1570 he dispatched Sinan Pasha to conquer Arabia. Sinan Pasha solemnly declared the reign of Sultan Selim II in Mecca upon finishing his military campaign in Hejaz and Yemen. In 1571–1572, on the order Mehmed's wife Ismahan Sultan, or Ismahan Sultan, the famous architect Mimar Sinan built the Sokollu Mehmed Pasha Mosque, which an authoritative guide to Constantinople states to be the most beautiful of the smaller mosques in Istanbul, a minor masterpiece by Sinan. During the rule of Sokollu Mehmed Pasha as Grand Vizier, the Ottoman navy and army took Cyprus in 1571 from Venice. The administration of Cyprus was given to Mehmed's old friend, the Arab Mehmed-paša. The invasion of Cyprus led to the formation of a so-called Holy League, comprising the Pope, Spain with Naples and Sicily, the Republic of Venice, Genoa, Tuscany, and the Knights of Malta. On the 7th of October 1571, the coalition's fleet under the command of Don Juan of Austria decisively defeated the Ottoman fleet under Muazzin Zaid Ali Pasha in the Battle of Lepanto. Sokollu Mehmed Pasha immediately ensured that Bajo Pasha and Ulus Ali Reis, the new Grand Admiral, were provided with all the necessary means and resources to rebuild the empire's shattered fleet. By July 1572 the Ottoman fleet already numbered 250 fully equipped warships, including 8 of the largest capital ships ever seen in the Mediterranean. 10. It is reported in Turkish chronicles that Sokollu Mehmed Pasha had said to the Venetian ambassador, "By conquering Cyprus we have cut off one of your arms. At Lepanto by defeating our navy you have only shaved off our beard." However, you know that a cut-off arm cannot be replaced, but shaved-off beard grows thicker. Indeed, The Holy League ships had to retire to ports and Ottoman naval supremacy in the Mediterranean was restored. The new Ottoman navy that started a naval expedition in summer of 1573 under Al-Usali Reis found no rivals in the Mediterranean and ravaged the coasts of Sicily and southern Italy, and in 1574 it captured Tunis from the Hafsids, who for some time had been supported by Spanish troops, thus restoring Ottoman domination of western Mediterranean. On the 3rd of March 1573, Venetian Republic signed a new peace treaty with the Ottomans under Mehmed-Pasha, thereby bringing the Holy League to an end, accepting the loss of Cyprus and increasing the tribute payments. He also extended for 8 more years the peace treaty with the Holy Roman Empire and maintained good relations with France, Poland, Lithuania and Russia. He was preparing for a fresh attack on Venice when the Sultan's death on the 12th of December 1574 cut short his plans. Final years. Sokollu Mehmed Pasha's wealth reached its peak around 1573, when the value of his personal property, cash, goods, accounts, objects, amounted to 18 million ducats. Mehmed received the standard Grand Vizier's wage of 20 ducats every day. His wealth increased greatly through gifts and taxes of Ottoman officials. Anyone who became a vizier had to pay Mehmed-Pasha 50,000 ducats, and every governor-general had to pay 15,000 or even sometimes 30,000 ducats upon ascending to the office. The provincial governor of Egypt at Cairo alone dispatched 100,000 ducats to the Grand Vizier every year. On the 30th of August 1574, Grand Vizier Sokollu Mehmed Pasha installed his nephew Antoni Sokolović, then the Metropolitan of Hum, as the new Eastern Orthodox Archbishop of Ohrid. On 23 October the same year, upon the death of Patriarch Makarai's death, Antoni became the new Serbian Orthodox Patriarch of Peć. Antoni died soon, in 1575, and was replaced by yet another one of Mehmed's nephews, Muradim Sokolović. When Sultan Selim II died, Sokollu Mehmed Pasha again kept this secret until Selim's oldest son Murad arrived from his governor's post in Manisa. Sokollu Mehmed Pasha acknowledged the new Sultan, Murad III, and remained Grand Vizier. But now he had to cope with the rising political influence of the palace women, first with Sultan's mother Nabanu Sultan and then his wife, of Venetian origin, Safiye Sultan. Murad III gradually soured on Sokollu Mehmed's overwhelming power within the empire, and the Grand Vizier's influence declined. Sokollu Mehmed Pasha was involved in the succession disputes of the Polish crown in 1576 and 1577, but this did not reach greater measures. Sokollu Mehmed signed numerous treaties of friendship with Venice, Florence, Spain, England and Switzerland. He also managed to force a number of European states to pay tribute. Austria paid 9,000 ducats, Transylvania 3,000, Wallachia 7,000, Moldavia 3,000. Eventually, even Venice had to pay him 4,000 ducats annually. This altogether gave him an annual income of 31,000 gold ducats. Citation needed. Mehmed was known to be opposed to the war with Persia, which began in 1578, but was overruled, and Sultan Murad III began to limit his Grand Vizier's powers by slowly removing his allies from high offices. The State Secretary Fridun, an old companion of Sokollu Mehmed's since the siege of Zagdva, was sent to Belgrade, away from Constantinople. Mehmed's faithful Arab friend, the Governor-General of Cyprus, was lynched by mutinous soldiers. Mehmed's greatest rivals, Hamid Efendi and Bajo Pasha, arranged the execution of the Grand Vizier's Greek protégé, Michael Khan Taxnos. On the 10th of October 1578, Sokollu Mustafa Bey, Sokollu Mehmed Pasha's nephew and Governor-General of Budin, was assassinated. On the anniversary of this day, on the 10th of October 1579, Sokollu Mehmed had his servant Husan Bey read to him about the Battle of Kosovo. The next day, on 11 October, a mentally unstable dervish demanded to see the Grand Vizier. Sokollu Mehmed Pasha allowed the dervish to enter his quarters, whereupon the latter took out a knife and stabbed the Grand Vizier. After 3 hours, Sokollu Mehmed Pasha died. There are some who claim that the assassin was a janissary in disguise in employment of Safiye Sultan, the wife of Murad III. Also, some sources who claim that Sokollu Mehmed was a target of Haçhaçan agent, as he was opposed to war with Persia where this order was stationed, which was not in their interest, although this is a very controversial claim as this order was destroyed by Mongols long time before. He is buried at his complex, Sokollu Mehmed-paša Sokolović at the back of Upper Mosque, in Istanbul, at the Sokollu Mehmed-paša derby built by famous architect Mimar Sinan for him c. 1572. His wife Ismahan, or Ismahan, is buried near him, and in the little garden of the derby are buried the family and descendants of Sokollu Mehmed Pasha. Sokollu Mehmed Pasha has left numerous architecturally well-known buildings in Constantinople and in Ottoman lands of his day. Sokollu Mehmed Pasha Mosque and the complex built at Kaydiga district of Istanbul by architect Mimar Sinan is considered to be the most beautiful of the smaller mosques in Istanbul. It is well known for unusually fine ordering of midris, cells and lecture hall, over the entry stairs, for its lofty elegant interior, the first, but then well copied, hooded fountain, ogival arches of the arcades, but above all the fine and well-preserved Iznik tiles. In the Azapkapi district of Istanbul he also had another mosque built, known as the Azapkapi Mosque, which is called most important Ottoman monument in Galata. Again the work of Sinan in 1577-1578. In Ub district of Istanbul, there is the Sokollu Mehmed Pasha Sokolović, also built by Sinan in ca. 1572, which is a complex including a midris, a school and his tomb, on the main highway between the two Ottoman capitals of Istanbul and Edirne. At Lüleburgaz there is well-known Sokollu Mehmed Pasha complex of a caravanserai, bathhouse, mosque, madrasa, a school, market streets and private apartments for sultans' use, when it became a palace, built in 1549 and extended at 1569, both times by Sinan. He has further complexes built at Havza, a city on the Istanbul-Edirne highway, and in Pires, in southern Turkey near Antakya. Again, built by Sinan and known by the name of Sokollu Mehmed Pasha are the bridges at Alpalu, Lüleburgaz and Korlu. There are in Havza, Yazıldırık, Istanbul, Edirne and Lüleburgaz public bathhouses that were built by Sinan in the name Sokollu Mehmed Pasha. Another mosque that he issued and was built by Mimar Sinan was the Black Mosque in Sofia, during the years when he was governor of Rumelia. The Black Mosque was converted to a church, in the 19th century, but most of its body is exemplarious of Mimar Sinan's style. His most renowned endowment is an 11-arched bridge in his hometown Visegrad. Building and history of the Visegrad Bridge is the topic of the world-renowned novel The Bridge on the Drina, Serbo-Croatian, Nadrenik Uprija, written by Ivo Andrić, a Yugoslav novelist. For that novel, Andrić was awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature. His life also interested Masa Selimovic. There were numerous Serbian, Croatian and Bosnian legends on the bridge's construction. According to one, Mehmed Pasha built the bridge in his son's name. Another is present through Ivo Andrić's Bridge on the Drina. It tells the tale of Rade the architect who built the bridge. In his native village of Sokolović he has built a mosque, Mektab and Musafirhana, guest house. His foundations are spread over Edirne, Halep, Medina, Bekarik, Belgrade and alongside Bosnia, where he is especially remembered for his bridges. Mecca and Constantinople contain numerous mosques alone. Apart from the Visegrad Bridge, Arslanajak Bridge in Trebinje, Vizier's Bridge in Podgorica, the bridge on Zapa and Kozak Uprija in Sarajevo are attributed to his name. Between Visegrad and Sarajevo, on Glasenac, he built a road of 4 paces and a castle. Of the castle, only a drinking fountain remained. The Mehmed Sokolović's Han